NFTs are the hottest thing in crypto right now and have even been touted by mainstream news outlets as the latest tech speculation bubble. Some NFTs are selling for some truly crazy prices at the moment. I mean, who would have known that a simple NFT JPEG file would go on to sell for a mind-blowing $69 million? With that sort of money flying around, you could be forgiven for thinking that NFTs are just a fad that will crash and burn real soon. If you're that sort of NFT skeptic, then there is a crypto project that might just change your mind. And that would be Enjin. Today, I'm going to give you the full lowdown on Enjin, its ecosystem, and why I think it's such an exciting project. I'll also share my thoughts on the ENJ token, why I think NFTs are here to stay, and much, much more. So be sure to stick around. Before I get cracking, there are a few things I need to come clean on. I was a bit of a scallywag in my youth. I skipped all those boring financial advisor classes in school to head to the park and drink Bacardi breezers with my mates. Those were the days. Well, that means that this lightweight is no financial advisor, and that everything I say is for informational and educational purposes only. Now, with that admittedly shocking revelation out of the way, I want to welcome anyone new to the channel. Hello, and welcome to the Bureau. My channel is the one you need if you really want to brush up on that crypto knowledge. Here you'll find tip-top reviews, analysis, and insights brought to you by the Jeremy Clarkson of crypto. A backhanded compliment if ever I heard one. So, if all that sounds like something you can benefit from, then you can get access to all of that content without paying 96 quid to Amazon. The price for all this crypto knowledge is just a smash of that subscribe button and a flick of that bell. Do that and those chaps at YouTube will tell you whenever I release another video. And finally, I've tried to do you a good turn by providing some handy timestamps below. Use and abuse them to jump ahead to the sections of my analysis that interest you the most. So, are you ready to start your engines? Honk honk! All aboard! To kick things off, I better explain what non-fungible tokens are and why they have value. In order to understand that, we need to understand what fungibility is. A fungible item is just something that's perfectly interchangeable with another item in its class. Now, an example of that would be a £10 note. Now, I don't know about you, but a £10 note is the same as any other £10 note. They are all worth the grand sum of £10. So, that banknote is perfectly interchangeable with another. However, when it comes to non-fungible items, they are characterized by unique and verifiable identities, provable scarcity, and they are invisible. Some of you will be aware of Coin Bureau's recent hire, Oshi. If I somehow lost Oshi when out and about in London, I could be sneaky and try to replace her with another dog. Yes, I could. Yes, I'd be a total scumbag for doing that. However, would anyone notice? Well, of course they would. Oshi is unique. There's only one Oshi, and she's indivisible too. Dogs are not identical or interchangeable and are therefore an example of something that is non-fungible. Yes, you are. Now, to all you dog lovers out there, Oshi is by no means a collectible to me. But collectibles like rare Pokemon cards or sports memorabilia would also be examples of non-fungible items. Thanks to Oshi for helping out there. But why do collectibles like Pokemon cards have value? Well, it appears that humans have been hardwired to collect from the very beginning. I mean, collecting things like food, water, etc. were pretty important for our ancestors to survive. So whoever was best at collecting back in the Stone Age was going to be a top provider and pretty hot stuff in that Stone Age dating pool. Now, most of us are fortunate enough to be living in societies where in ordinary times we don't have to collect food and water in a massive stockpile. Now, the point is that we've moved away from primitive survival needs like food, water, shelter, and safety. Maslow's hierarchy of needs sums up those primitive needs as psychological and safety needs. All that is not a concern in most Western countries. The majority of people, thankfully, have access to food and shelter these days. Instead, we're now more concerned with pursuing psychological needs like seeking prestige and the feelings of accomplishment and of fulfilling our potential. What is super interesting about the human psyche are things like the endowment effect. No, get your heads out of the gutter, please. I'm talking about the effect of valuing something more highly because you own it. Now, that's a bit like how you might drive your car super carefully because you own it, and how you're more than happy to razz that hire car to the max. Then you have things like contagion, which is where you value something because of the association it carries, like a previous owner. An example of that would be Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona, which sold for $17.8 million. That Daytona would not have been worth anywhere near that amount if it had been owned by someone else. However, because Mr. Newman was a kind of big deal on the acting, directing, racing and salad dressing circuits, the watch was valued more highly by collectors. The point is that humans are hardwired to own and collect things. However, until very recently, the world of collectibles has been limited to physical items like signed footballs and collectible trading cards. The main benefit of physical collectibles is that no one could ever own the exact same copy as you. Indeed, the condition of a super rare Charizard Pokemon card can lead to wild swings in value. The contagion effect can also be seen throughout the collectible world. The simplest example of that would be in sports memorabilia. I mean, what is a pair of worn football boots worth? Not very much, right? But a pair of boots worn by Cristiano Ronaldo in a Champions League game would certainly be worth a pretty penny. 3 things basically determine the value of a physical collectible, and that would be rarity, provenance, and utility. The truth is that digital collectibles simply could not exist until very recently because those characteristics couldn't be replicated in digital format. I mean, anything digital could just be duplicated, so digital items couldn't be rare. The provenance of a digital item couldn't be proven either. However, with NFTs, that rarity can actually be guaranteed through the use of smart contracts that ensure a certain supply. That smart contract might essentially say only 50 copies of this NFT can ever exist, and that's guaranteed by code. The provenance of NFTs could also be proven and guaranteed by a blockchain where anyone can see the chain of transactions for that particular NFT. So if you're wanting to get that rare sword that your favorite esports star used, then that is entirely possible to verify. NFTs can also have utility too. I mean, ERC 1155 tokens could be items within multiple games and apps, like that epic blaster you need to progress in that first-person shooter. So, what NFTs brought about was the rise of digital collectability, which simply wasn't possible before. There are also distinct advantages digital collectibles have over their physical equivalents. Let's face it, selling that physical collectible can be a pain that requires you to actually deliver the item in question. However, with digital collectibles, you can just stay at home and list them for sale on a 24/7 NFT marketplace. Market demand efficiencies for digital collectibles are significantly greater than their physical counterparts. I mean, if you were selling a collectible in an auction house in Grimsby, the number of buyers would probably be quite limited. By comparison, NFT marketplaces are global and items can be searched by name, creator, and platform. When it comes to transparency and being able to prove that a collectible was made by its original creator, a blockchain serves as pretty much the ultimate way to check up on that. So, you can hopefully see why NFTs have value now and why they might be even better collectibles than physical items. So, now I need to move on to tell you about Enjin. The way I like to describe Enjin to friends is that it's an NFT issuance platform and ecosystem with a focus on gaming. So, how do NFTs tie into that video game market, you might ask? Well, think about well-known games like World of Warcraft. The game really has 2 main objectives: survive and get epic loot. That loot could be things like a special weapon or a piece of mythical armor. Some of these items are extremely rare, and they give you special abilities or boost your character's stats within the game. With Enjin, all those special items could be issued to players as NFTs and allow the player to actually own that item as a blockchain asset. Now, that may not sound like a big deal, but it's actually potentially very disruptive to the traditional gaming space. Think about Blizzard, who own World of Warcraft. They basically say that this player owns this in-game item, and that's done on a centralized database. The horrific truth is that Blizzard has the power to shut any player's account down and make those special items inaccessible to a player who might have spent literally hundreds of hours earning them. Whereas if those items were issued as NFTs, then the player would have full control and ownership of them. Also, think about special items earned in traditional computer games. They're items trapped in a walled garden with no value outside of the game. What's important to note about video games is that there are always newer and shinier games being released, and that usually leads to dwindling player bases over time. Typically, that leads to a reduction in demand for a special item over time, which means that they depreciate in value. However, if that game had those special items issued as Enjin NFTs, then those items could be transferred from one game to another or traded. That gives rise to an open gaming ecosystem, which is basically the opposite of the old walled garden system traditionally adopted by game developers. That vision of an open gaming ecosystem is best showcased by the Enjin metaverse, which connects numerous different worlds together and allows characters to level up and use items in multiple games. Radical stuff indeed. In short, Enjin provides game developers with all the tools they need to build these games with in-game NFT items. It also gives gamers everything they need to discover, trade, and store these blockchain assets. Pretty neat. Now, before I dive deeper into the Enjin ecosystem, I think it's only right to give the Enjin team full credit for their major contribution to the NFT space, and that would be the ERC1155 token. This is also really important when it comes to understanding the Enjin ecosystem and the value of the Enjin platform in blockchain gaming. That ERC1155 token was actually invented by Enjin all the way back in 2018. In a nutshell, this is an improved version of the ERC20 and ERC721 token standards. It does that by combining the benefits of both non-fungible and fungible tokens. So what do I mean by that? Let's take that game World of Warcraft again as an example. Within it, you have gold as a fungible in-game currency, like my crisp £10 note from earlier. But of course, the game has epic loot, like those magic swords, which are unique and non-fungible items. What that ERC1155 token standard allows for is the issuance of both fungible and non-fungible tokens, which is pretty important for any game developer considering implementing crypto assets into their game. So yes, Enjin has certainly pioneered in this area. Time to move on though, as I want to take a look at the all-important Enjin Coin. Here's the deal. Enjin Coin, ticker ENJ, is used to pay for the creation or forging of NFTs on the platform. That could literally be any non-fungible item, like a special weapon or collectible cards, to an exclusive Coin Bureau NFT, which I may or may not have plans for in the future. Anyhow, that process of creating an NFT is called minting. Here's the thing though. Each digital item created with the Enjin minting system contains a certain amount of Enjin Coin within it. Even more interesting, that minting process can be reversed by melting down that NFT back into Enjin Coin. Because Enjin Coin has a tradable price, this means that any NFT minted using Enjin will have real-life value too, and the player knows that each in-game item will hold at least some value. Another neat thing is that in some Enjin-powered games, players can earn Enjin Coin as a tokenized reward. That ENJ can also be used to buy game items from in-game stores. Now that you know the basics about Enjin Coin, I'd like to move on and tell you about the Enjin ecosystem. Alrighty, so it's probably best if I start off with the Enjin platform. Essentially, this is a toolkit to help game developers integrate blockchain gaming into their games and for NFT dabblers to mint their own NFTs. The minting panel allows you to create and manage fungible and non-fungible tokens in just a few clicks. Another neat feature for game developers is the ability to earn automated revenue from their games. That's made possible by enabling game developers to automatically get paid when players trade Enjin-minted digital assets. That could be quite a lot of revenue when you consider that there are over 38,000 traders on the Enjin marketplace, with over 500,000 digital assets sold. Then you have those software development kits, which makes it easier for game developers to integrate Enjin into their game and take advantage of those awesome NFTs. Now, I get it. Most of you won't be game developers or be into minting your own NFTs. But there is one thing all us crypto and NFT hodlers need, and that is a top-notch crypto wallet. Enjin has honestly created a really beautiful mobile wallet, one where you actually own those all-important private keys. The wallet supports major cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the legendary Dogecoin. It also supports every ERC20 token under the sun, as well as ERC721 and ERC1155 NFTs. You can also interact with any dApp within the wallet. Now, I'm just going to be upfront and say that this really is the best wallet I've come across to store your NFTs. The app allows you to claim NFTs by scanning a QR code, trade them, and allows you to link your wallet to blockchain games easily. Nifty stuff. Oh yes, in slightly older news, the wallet was also integrated into Samsung Galaxy S phones, a pretty big deal indeed. Next, you have the Enjin Marketplace. Put simply, this is one of the best marketplaces out there to find, buy, or sell rare NFTs. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I was a bit of a gamer nerd in my youth, and more recently, I've been playing a pretty sweet Enjin-powered game called Lost Relics. Now, I'm not going to lie, my current sword is holding me back there, and because I'm a bad workman, I always blame my tools. That means I need to upgrade my sword to something that will actually cut the mustard. Fortunately, I found a pretty sweet legendary sword that would most definitely make me a better player, one to help me slay those monsters in next to no time. Now, what's also pretty cool is that you can see key information for the items, like what the total supply is, the circulating supply, melt fees to get the ENJ back, the number of transfers for the item, and more. For those interested in the marketplace, it's just a really cool way to list your NFTs and sell them. Thousands of items are already listed here and are being traded right now. It also integrates with the wallet perfectly. What's awesome is that people are actually using the Enjin Marketplace to trade items for games that have not even been released yet. Pretty crazy, right? Seriously, I personally found the Enjin Marketplace really straightforward to use and super intuitive. That's something I personally value, so top marks to Enjin on that one. Now, the next element of the Enjin ecosystem would be Enjin Beam. This is one for all you game developers and marketers out there, and it allows you to embed NFTs within QR codes. That's a pretty cool way to engage with fans and reward them. For people like you and me, it's as simple as scanning one of those QR codes with your Enjin wallet, and you'll get that NFT. So you're probably thinking that the Enjin ecosystem sounds great. But honestly, what's even more impressive about the project is the way it's going about solving some of the problems currently plaguing the NFT market. Allow me to explain. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit it. The NFT market does still have some pretty big issues. The first is how most NFTs out there are ERC721 or ERC1155 tokens, which means they are on Ethereum. Most of you will be only too aware of how ridiculous Ethereum gas fees can be. I mean, imagine if I released my own special Guy NFT. I can't imagine it would be worth much. High gas fees would make it prohibitively expensive to trade or transfer that NFT. Those chaps at Enjin are basically solving that massive pain point for NFT holders with JumpNet. This is a high-speed bridge network that will allow free instant on-chain transactions of Enjin Coin and ERC1155 tokens. Sounds like a dream, right? The even more dreamy thing is that we don't have long to wait for that JumpNet MVP, seeing that it's coming out on the 6th of April. JumpNet is a private version of the Ethereum blockchain that uses a proof of authority consensus mechanism, which means instant, secure, and gasless on-chain transactions. However, the thing to know is that JumpNet will initially be a one-way bridge from Ethereum to JumpNet. That being said, Enjin claims that future updates will see two-way ERC20 and ENJ bridges between JumpNet, Ethereum, and Efinity. And speaking of Efinity, that's the next major innovation from Enjin that is in the works. Efinity is a decentralized blockchain for NFTs that will support next-generation token features as well as assets from any blockchain. It's all about multi-chain interoperability. That helps solve the problem of fragmentation through NFTs siloed on a particular blockchain. What Efinity will allow users to do is to port over NFTs from multiple chains. There are also quite a few updates that are in the works for Efinity, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for more news on those. Now, before we finish off, I need to touch on another really important topic for the Enjin Coin, and that's its tokenomics. With ENJ, the first thing to know is that 83% of the total supply is already circulating. This reduces the chance of large ENJ inflation anytime soon. It's also important to note that those melt fees I mentioned earlier are a zero-sum game. Essentially, the person who mints the NFT in the first place sets the percentage of ENJ that a user can retrieve by melting that asset. This can be anywhere from 50% to 100%. The creator of that NFT receives the remainder of the melt fee. So, when it comes to decreasing the tradable supply of ENJ, this is driven by more and more people minting NFTs and taking that ENJ off the tradable supply by locking it into items. Basically, if any Enjin-powered game really takes off, that could mean a whole lot of Enjin Coin is locked up in in-game items. Moreover, that game developer would likely acquire more Enjin Coins to mint even more items to serve that increased player pool. Let's be honest, that's probably going to be good news for the price. Another interesting point is the distribution of ENJ. Yes, I know the likes of Binance are holding Enjin Coin for a ton of people. However, there are over 93,000 unique wallets holding the crypto according to Etherscan. That's a significantly wider distribution than the likes of SushiSwap, for example, which has a slightly bigger market cap than ENJ at the time of shooting this video. Yet, there are only 41,000 unique wallets holding the Sushi token. What this means is that Enjin Coin has less of its supply concentrated in a limited range of wallets. This reduces the chance that a large whale could come along and dump it. If you're interested in getting your hands on some Enjin Coin, I'm going to be straight up and say that you probably want to get it on Binance, seeing as it's got the highest trading volumes and most trading pairs. Oh yes, if you haven't got a Binance account yet, you can get a 20% trading fee discount by using my link in the description below. Okay team, that's about all I have time for today, but I do have a few closing thoughts to share. I'm going to level with you. It slightly bemuses me why there is all this NFT hype with what are essentially JPEGs being sold for crazy money. Personally, I think that NFT use in video games for those legendary items makes so much more sense. This actually provides real NFT utility and solves a bunch of pain points seen in the traditional gaming space. Yes, gaming is still meant to be fun. You're playing a game after all. It is true that not everyone will make meaningful money by playing Enjin games. However, for the people that have a bit more time, they can spend that time doing something they love and ultimately they are creating value in the process. I just love the idea of gamers actually being rewarded for the value they create to be able to own their own items and collect them. When it comes to NFTs and the wider gaming market, I believe this is what the future holds for us all. Maybe we're too early and the right games have yet to be onboarded. That being said, not everything is rosy at Enjin. I've yet to see one major game title use the platform. Most game developers Enjin has worked with are early adopters who want to try out this new technology and build bespoke. The real challenge is in persuading traditional game developers to start working on these games. They are no doubt worried about losing players or slowing growth, given that most people still don't know a lot about NFTs. This is actually a big stumbling block for Enjin when it comes to wider adoption of its ecosystem. Then again, all Enjin needs is one big game to pop, and that's bound to send the demand for ENJ soaring. I also have to give it to the Enjin team that always appears to be one step ahead in the NFT space. If in-game NFTs really are here to stay, Enjin is best positioned to capitalize on that and increase its market share. Right folks, now I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Enjin Coin? Is it a hot NFT play or a wet fish? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh yes, if you're looking for even more content by me, then be sure to check out my socials page in the description. Here you'll find the Bureau's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more. That's where you need to go for those behind-the-scenes views and content that you won't find on YouTube. Click that link below. Finally, if you believe that this crypto captain has earned it, then give me a pat on the back by dropping a like on the video and subscribe if you want to salute the Bureau. All right, NFT soldiers, you are dismissed for today. But I hope to see you around real soon.